Brentford FC are a Premier League club based in Brentford in West London. They play at the Brentford Community Stadium, which was opened in 2020 and has a capacity of 17,250. Brentford's badge is quite simple, a red circle similar to an image of a tube station sign, with Brentford Football Club and the founding date written on it with a B in the centre, as Brentford's nickname is the Bees. Brentford were founded in 1889 but will play amateur football until joining the London League 7 years later, but quickly after joining the league they found success and so were elected to play in the Southern League in 1898. From there they would slowly work their way up to a point that in 1920 they were elected into the newly formed 3rd division of the Football League. In 1926, in came Brentford's most successful and longest-serving manager, Harry Curtis, known as the Governor. It took some time, but in the 1929-30 season, they won all 21 games at home, still a record in English football today, yet their away form was so poor that it actually denied them promotion as they finished second. This set the foundation for Brentford to be a challenger in the 3rd division, and by 1933 they managed to win the league and gain promotion to the 2nd tier. Then just 2 years later they continued their rise and gained promotion to the top flight of English football for their first time ever. Their first season in the 1st division started horribly, with them looking like certain relegation candidate after 15 games. However, they just lose 2 of their last 23, which took them up to their highest finish ever of 5th place. Strong finishes would continue for Brentford up until the beginning of the Second World War. Brentford though were relegated in the first season back after the war, and a few years later Harry Curtis announced his retirement. From there they began to have some money troubles and be relegated back down into the 3rd tier by 1954. The struggle would then continue, as in 1962 Brentford would be relegated to the 4th tier, and outside of a couple brief spells Brentford would spend most of the 60s and 70s in that division. From there they'd eventually be promoted in 1978 and then become a regular of the 3rd tier. In fact, for the next 29 years Brentford spent 27 of them in that division. But in 2009, new ownership came in the form of a supporter, Matthew Benham, who poured money into the club and slowly would see results, as after just missing out a few times in the playoffs, Brentford would be promoted to the Championship in 2014. From there, they would become a good Championship side under Dean Smith and then Thomas Frank in 2020. Brentford just missed out on promotion in the playoffs, but would come back the next year and beat Swansea 2-0 to get back to the top flight for the first time since 1947. Brentford have never won a major trophy, so their greatest achievement would either be the 2nd division title in 1935 or the playoff win in 2021. Brentford play in a red and white striped shirt with black shorts and red or black socks, and it has been this way since 1925. Brentford's nickname is the Bees, and it's actually nothing to do with bees, but more to do with a misunderstanding. It happened in the 1890s when students of the Borough Road College started chanting "Buck Up Bees," as in the letter B, short for Brentford, but newspapers heard that as "Buck Up Bees," as in the animal. Brentford's main rival is fellow West London club Fulham, and they also share a fierce rivalry with Queen's Park Rangers, who almost took over their stadium in 1967 when Brentford faced money troubles. One final fact about Brentford is that prior to their promotion in 2021, Brentford had not succeeded in the playoffs beforehand, losing in all of their 9 attempts. This is quite ironic, as the person who suggested the playoffs to the Football League was Martin Lange, who at the time was the Brentford chairman. And that was the quick history of Brentford. Up next is Brighton and Hove Albion.